6 days. Can you believe it? 6 days. Until Jackson County voters will decide whether or not the Royals and the Chiefs get that 3.8 sales tax beyond 2031 for the Royals to go downtown and the Chiefs to upgrade Arrowhead Stadium. Patrick Tuohey is with the Show Me Institute. He was on the stage last week in a great debate that aired on Kansas City PBS on Friday and then again on Sunday. And Patrick was a no advocate along with former Councilwoman Becky Nace. The yes advocates were Executive Vice President of the Royals, Sarah Torville, and Sly James, former Kansas City mayor. Patrick, you made it out alive. Nice job. How do you feel like it went?
I think it went fine. As you can tell from watching it, the audience was definitely stacked with no voters. But I feel like I was the one having the most fun on that stage. I don't know if it comes across to viewers, but I really enjoyed the opportunity.
Well, I would agree with that assessment, but I think that's in part because none of your colleagues were having any fun. I mean, there were some cranks on that stage.
Yeah. The historian was good. And, of course, Nick is always high energy. You've had him on. People know that. But I enjoyed it. And as we spoke last week, sometimes it's tough to know if the thoughts on your head, if you articulated them properly. But I think the no side made all their points. And really, there's only one or 2 points to make, which is, we don't know enough to put this on the ballot. And there are so many questions, which are kind of the same point. The yes side, I don't envy them, felt like they had to explain every little bit and even come to bat for John Sherman himself.
Yeah, I did see some of that. So the old adage in politics is if you're explaining, you're losing. So from that standpoint, do you feel like the no side has an edge right now, or is the $3 million on the yes side problematic for those who might want the no vote to come out on top?
I think everyone knows what the two arguments are. I think all that the yes side can do with all that money is just send out more postcards, but it's not going to be new and different arguments. Maybe they think they can reach more people. Maybe they think they can create more passion, but the arguments have been made. The tough thing for a no side is that you are so wildly underfunded by comparison, and that really you are rooting against or articulating a view that is against the Chiefs and the Royals, or at least that's how it sounds. And I think the advocates for no, all the different groups have done a great job of making their point and getting it out there.
When you look at this issue, and obviously you've been all over it from a no perspective on why, there are a lot of reasons to potentially consider voting no. I know you're not officially on one side or the other, but you've made the case on the no side for many months now. The yes side does have an incredible amount of money. They are sending out, as you note, the postcards. And some of the postcards that people are getting, I was reading this morning on the air, are basically saying this is our last chance to save the Chiefs. What would you call that?
Yeah, I saw that too. Well, that is reactionary is what that is. They are so again, I don't know. I am not privy to anyone's thoughts inside the yes campaign. But what that tells me, when they are changing their argument on the fly, it means either that they are not confident in their own argument, or they see that the no argument is gaining traction, and so they have to react to it. And if you're outspending 20-1 your opponents, and you are urging a yes vote, you do not want to be changing your message in reaction to the other side a week before the vote. It's just not a place you want to be.
I know one of the critiques that you've gotten is, Patrick Tuohey, you are getting in the way of progress and development, and you're just a guy who wants to live in the Stone Ages. You want to keep the old crappy airport that was a glorified bus terminal, and this town wouldn't have any nice things if Patrick Tuohey had his way.
Yeah, I've been told that for years. And by the way, the mayor was wrong. Flights are down at the new terminal from what they were before the pandemic at the old terminal. I was interested to actually check the numbers there. The problem with Kansas City, and again, I'm in Dallas last night. Dallas does this. Kansas City is not alone. Is that we confuse development with that public-private partnership that everybody wants to talk about. And what that basically means is that taxpayers are subsidizing private action. And the mayor is right when he says on the stump that, we do this all the time, but that's not a reason to do more of it. We need to stop doing it. good things can happen in Kansas City. Private investors can build hotels and restaurants and entertainment districts. They don't need to do it with taxpayer dollars, but sort of like the frog in the pot of hot water. We've done it so often that we don't even realize what we're doing anymore. And we are using taxpayer dollars to make rich people all the richer.
What about Union Station? Go back a generation now. Like, was Patrick Tuohey, I know you weren't here in town and neither was I, but is that something that in hindsight you would have advocated for, by state, private, public partnership, or is that something else that you would have said that was a bad deal, shouldn't have done it? Because most people would say that's been a great investment for the region at large.
Well, so I don't know because I'm not too familiar with the arguments. Again, probably won't surprise your listeners that I would have been skeptical at the very least, but we haven't had anything like that since. And I think it's because all the municipalities that had to deal with Kansas City had such a negative experience that they have not wanted to get in bed with the city on other projects since then. So I would be interested to talk to people who are not in Kansas City but were involved in that and see what their experience was. Because if it was so great, you would have you'd think that we would have done it again since, and we haven't. What
about the fact that the no side, this is weird because you are a libertarian think tank guy, and after the event you were on stage with last week, you had KC tenants who are socialists coming up to you and saying, "Great job, Patrick Tuohey." Probably the first time they've ever said that to you.
Yeah, and the last.
And the last, probably. But this is weird. Like, this has just been such a strange issue in the way that unique groups have come together in a way they never otherwise would. My thought here and my fear here is that if the no wins out, KC tenants will do victory laps. The media will treat them like they're the reason this thing got voted down, and they will gain more political power in Kansas City, which scares the bejesus out of me. Is that a fair fear that I have? Do you feel that as well?
I'm not scared of it. If part of their message is stopping deals like this, they've got a lot of work ahead of them, and I'd be excited to have people successfully opposing these types of deals in Kansas City. Now, you're right. They've got a whole other part of their agenda, and I'm confident that when that comes up, I can talk to people about that and explain why the union part of it or the employment or the housing parts of it aren't good ideas. But as for what's going on right now, I tend to collect friends on the left. I know plenty of people that disagree with me on 99 things, but I'm willing to work with them on the one thing we agree on. And I think this is good for Kansas City, and it's good for people in politics, young people especially, who feel very passionately about what they believe. And if they're willing to work with people that don't usually agree with them, it's a good experience. And hopefully it's something that they look for again in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know, but it's like, oh, man, that's nothing about that group I like, to be totally honest. That's just me talking, not you, but it is interesting how politics makes strange bedfellows.
Well, look, to their credit, they show up and they do the work, and that's...
Well, they show up, Patrick, because they don't have jobs, and they don't have they live in their mom's basements. I mean, that's why they show up. The rest of us are busy, raising kids and going to work.
All right, that's fair.
Okay, thank you. Let me get your response to Sly James. Here's what he said to KCTV5.
They have to stop thinking so much about the stadium for the Royals and start understanding what this vote is about. This vote is about keeping both teams, the Chiefs and the Royals, in Jackson County, Missouri. Period. End of story.
All right, you say what to Sly James?
Look, Sly James is a paid consultant with the yes side. He will do what they tell him to do. They tell him to say that. He says it. This is not about that. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows the leases go on for 7 more years, and everybody knows that if this measure is defeated, John Sherman and the county will be right back at the table, starting from scratch. And like I said on the stage, the deal might not be something that I like next time, but it'll be better than what we've got now.
Do you know, is there a way to find out how much Sly James is getting paid by the yes side?
I believe it's in their MEC reports, and I believe that it was about $70,000 so far. Again, look that up yourself. It's easily accessible on the Missouri Ethics Commission website, but that's the number that someone told me.
All right. Well, that's a nice chunk of change. Patrick Tuohey, He's not getting paid for this appearance. He's just a good guy driving back from Dallas, joining us on KCMO. Thank you, Patrick. We appreciate it as always, and we'll talk to you next week, which will be the day after, the morning after we have the results.
That's right. Very exciting. Take care.